Relish in us in this video as we discuss all things related to mythical creatures. Every individual across the globe will be interested in the variety of dragons flying in the ancient sky or the enchanting mermaids who attracted sailors to their doom. These mythical creatures have changed as humanity has evolved and completely represent our fears, dreams, and cultural ethos. We as a society somehow enjoy the lore around mythical beings like Yeti, dragons, gargoyle, phoenix, and countless more. This documentary aims to show you how such legendary beings have originated from the folklore of early civilizations to the interpretations we have in our modern society through movies, books, and other forms of modern art. So join us as we reveal how these stories shaped civilization through every creature, telling us the tales rooted in the traditions of the cultures that bore them, and helping us appreciate art, literature, and cinematography that provide windows into those societies. We want to attract history lovers and the curious throughout this video by exposing these legendary beings' importance in building tales across ages. We'll describe how they symbolize human struggle, hopes and morals. So let's start untangling the history behind these magical beings. By the end, you'll have a better understanding of these entities and the consequences of true storytelling and culture. So please relax and enjoy this wonderful tale with us. Starting from the beginning of these fantastical creatures, as we now look into the so-called fantastical beasts, their tracing back to their origins brings us to one of the oldest civilizations. The inhabitants considered these creatures a part of their cultural identity. For example, in Mesopotamia, the Lamassu was one such creature that had a body of a bull, wings like an eagle, and a human face. These fantastical creatures represented power and protection. Lamassu were placed at the entrance of temples and palaces, signifying the goals of the Mesopotamian civilization of attaining security and support from the gods. Transitioning to ancient Egypt, we meet the Sphinx, a creature with the body of a lion and a human head. The Sphinx represented wisdom and power, capturing the essence of a pharaoh as the land's protector. Its mysteries and riddles were a marvel, showcasing the Egyptians' appreciation for knowledge and life after death. In Greek mythology, metaphors for chaos, like the fire-breathing chimera that contained different animal parts, acted as vessels to depict the fights against metaphors of chaos. These beings were often depicted in stories that conveyed moral lessons, a telltale sign of how the Greeks viewed heroism and the human condition. Proxies somersaulting were integral to these legends, allowing them to be passed through generations orally. These mythical creatures were spoken of by storytellers, which ultimately helped their significance last through cultures. This rich mix of mythology has taught various ancient societies due to its deeper values and beliefs alongside entertaining them. We can pinpoint idealistness from the ancients and correlate them with the mythical creatures and beings that inspire us even today. Various mythical creatures serve purposes in folklore around the globe for identifying cultures and building morals. These entities exemplify civilians' worries, values, and beliefs, from the eerie screech of banshee in Irish folklore to the mysterious chupacabra of Latin American fables. The banshee, frequently perceived as a death-bringer, teaches an essential life lesson of respecting fate and the cycle of life. On the other hand, the chupacabra, which is reported to hunt livestock, signifies the fear of the unknown and the threat that rural areas bring to societies. Ways of teaching morals are not as effective as this. Ethnic tales utilize and demonize certain folk for negative traits, such as selfishness or unkindness. For example, in North American stories, the coyote is a trickster figure or koi fish, symbolizing endurance and metamorphosis in Asian folk tales. These stories teach and pass down morals essential for cultural survival. One thing is clear about mythical creatures around the world: their remarkable differences as well as their astonishing similarities. Many cultures had beings resembling dragons, regarded as symbols of power and chaos. Still, their attributes and functions were quite different. Western dragons are usually portrayed as evil, while Eastern ones are considered wise and kind-hearted. This difference shows how cultural context influences the perception of these creatures. In the end, mythical creatures in folklore have one thing in common. They capture the intricacies of human life, connect the past with the present, and help us understand various cultures' nuances. During this period, ancient myths began to be interpreted differently, and because of that, there was an immense resurgence of interest in mythical creatures. The Renaissance was a time when ancient Roman and Greek cultures began to be adored, infusing life within creatures of old. Myths were retold in Sandro Botticelli and Michelangelo's paintings, where gods, goddesses and beautiful beasts were etched, combining the old with the new. This movement was dominantly influenced by literature. Works from playwrights like William Shakespeare and poets like Dante Alighieri featured mythological creatures that deeply fascinated their audiences. In A Midsummer Night's Dream, fairies and magic-infused characters are its intricate love story's epic backdrop, emphasizing the enchanting nature of existence within a fantastical realm. We also see Dante's Divine Comedy, where classical mythological figures like Virgil and Beatrice personify themes of morality and humanity. The Renaissance marked the beginning of all the modern views of mythical creatures. The fusion of classical themes with New Age thinking provided a different dimension to storytelling in literature, cinema, and art. We witness the return of mythical creatures in today's pop culture, whether it's the dragons in books or mermaids in movies. This fascination embodies the human desire to venture into the unknown and embrace the tales that shape the world. While influencing the modern world in terms of mythical creatures, the Renaissance also sowed the seeds for their further adaptations into stories, placing them into the cultural framework. Cultural icons are emerging as new forms of mythical creatures in the modern world, and a wide array of people are paying attention to them, which is defined as mythical creatures having new connotations and forms in modern media. Video games, movies and novels are filled with these creatures, highlighting their importance in today's society. To illustrate, in the Harry Potter novels, there is an ample representation of the magical creatures that range from house elves to hippogriffs, and every single one has a distinctive role in the plot. The same goes for Game of Thrones. Dragons are portrayed as powerful creatures of destruction and rebirth. They symbolize the duality of power and loyalty in a chaotic world. The mixing and sophistication of mythical creatures to form a narrative is a characteristic feature of modern media storytelling. Creatures that formerly represented what people feared can now be traced back to depth and complexity, making it easy for the audience to relate to them. This is very much visible in the portrayal of centaurs in the Harry Potter series. They are not regarded only as fictional creatures, but also as noble and intelligent protectors of nature, completely breaking stereotypes and creating space for sympathy. The importance of these creatures has evolved with time. New metaphors such as identity, belonging, or the overall struggle in life draw a parallel between the past and the modern day. Moving away from myths and reimagining them makes it easier for audiences to resonate with them. Creators undertake the task of making the ancient relevant once again. There is a reason mythical creatures and characters make it to the world of popular culture. They are not just emblematic of an era, they symbolize innovation too. The integration of tradition and modernization in storytelling is enough to inspire thought. Mythical creatures have powerful forms of symbolism associated with them. For us, it might be a dragon that breathes fire, but in reality it symbolizes chaos, power, or even some of the most complicated aspects of a human being. While dragons are depicted as powerful and chaotic beings in some cultures, they can be guardians of treasure in others. Their dual nature reflects the development and destruction that comes with ambition. Additionally, unicorns are regarded as enigmatic creatures that reserve the purest form of innocence and aspire to accomplish the most unattainable goals. Since they are represented as gentle and ephemeral creatures, unicorns capture desire as well as hope, showcasing a person's innate desire for transcendence. In numerous cultures, unicorns symbolize protection and aiding healing, reminding us of the kindness that exists within the world. The depth of these symbols, culturally and psychologically, is astonishing. Different societies can articulate their values and fears using these symbols. For example, dragons have the potential to act as warning signs towards selfishness, greed, and overconfidence, while unicorns challenge people to pursue a life that is genuinely authentic and pure. Inspiration for modern narratives can also be taken from these symbols because they serve to deal with issues in the present day. The internal struggles that we all face may be represented through a dragon's claws, while the never-ending fight to acquire personal truth in an unpredictable universe can be portrayed through the horn of a unicorn. Engaging with these creatures acts as a bridge connecting our past with our present and reminding us of the wonders of storytelling. In our stepping back from the biological exploration of some mythical creatures, we focused on different interpretations of these creatures throughout history. Focusing on the earliest civilizations, namely Mesopotamia, Egypt and Greece, we chronicled these cultures' belief systems and value systems, starting with considering the earliest known mythical characters. Then, we further explored the folklore traditions that specialized in using mythical figures as emblematic moral instructors and national spirits, with examples like Chupacabra, Banshee, etc. These creatures received the attention they deserved during the Renaissance period, and their ancient reinterpretation by artists and writers has been prevalent and influential to us to date. Then it was also discussed how such creatures have been transformed into multifaceted characters in modern works, including but not limited to the Harry Potter and Game of Thrones franchises, all while maintaining the essence of the innovation of myth in storytelling. This video analyzes the underlying meanings of some of the world's most famous mythical creatures and how they convey human feelings and ideas. We note that their cultural and psychological importance still holds greater importance, prompting us to consider their concerns in our lives. If you like this trip around the universe of mythical creatures, please subscribe to our channel, like this video and share it with others. Remember to check out the rest of our materials for more fabulous details about mythology. We thank you for being with us and hope to see you on our next trip.